And we'll steer into the final one, Bart. I mean, this is a fascinating one. This one, it's a player that's only moved in the summer. There's a few links. Liverpool, again, for our info, have definitely had scouts watching this player. And the weird thing about this is he's a player that plays in a couple of positions, but at the same time is very different. Wilfried Singo, when he's played right back, very, very different to what you get with Frimpong and with Bradley in that sense as well. But it's an interesting one that we have looked at him because when he only moved from Monaco last summer to Galatasaray for just over 26 million quid. But in terms of when we talk about lack of height, lack of physicality, all those types of things, this guy is ticking a lot of these boxes when you look at it. And right back, centre back, which we'll talk about as well. So what are the stats saying for Singo?
So you're right, he's got two profiles. If you watch a lot of footage, he's almost 50-50 as well. I'd have to look at the actual minutes. There's a lot of games where he's ended up playing right back. You know what I mean? It's a lot of things. I mean, whenever you look at a profile and there's a lot of green, you know you're probably into a good thing, right? But it is the Turkish league, so
yeah,
you've got to take a little bit of pinch salt. Defensively, 80th percentile for tackles, 98 for interceptions. Which again, if you watch the footage, that is kind of what he does. He's very good at being in the right place at the right time. He does like to. He's again a proactive. If I said anything about these centre halves that we're profiling at the moment, they're all front foot, proactive, trying to nip in front, aggressive, right? That is a common trait in every single one of these ones that you've given me recently. When you watch the footage, they all do a similar kind of thing. They're not looking to get turned, but they're very happy to go hard in with the player and then nip it in front and nick the ball. And they're also, this guy as well, because he can play fullback, he's even more comfortable in that right area. So if he gets pulled out, he adopts like a right back position and defends the guy in 1v1 better than a lot of guys that we've looked at recently. So I think he aerially, I just looked up, he's around 60s. He's had a high as a 70, I think. So he's been as high as around 70. He's dropped a little bit low this season. So aerially, he is good. I think he's probably slightly a nudge above Gay as well. Just for comparison for people. And again, if you watch him in the footage, he's good in the air. I think he's another one of these players that seems to have an ability to read the play, see how it's progressing, and then position himself to deal with the second ball, the cross, if he's not going to win the first thing. If he's not in the first thing, he's very good at saying, right, well, if I'm here, I can do this. He does have a weird way of clearances, which people might have to get rid of. Anyone remember Timo West from Inter that we nearly signed with the green hair? Yeah. There's a few clearances. If you watch the footage, you're like, whoa, this is
wild.
A wild clearances. It gets the job done, but it's an interesting thing. So Green as a centre half, carries it, passes it well. Pass completion 85% is a little bit low for a centre half. We used to be in the 90s, not long, a lot of pressure, and volume is low. But again, this is opportunity based, so Gala might not have as much of the ball as a Premier League team, so there seems to be wary of for that. In the box, so very non-penalty goals, shots, assists. He's quite good at putting a ball in on a secondary cycle. He's not involved in the box, and some of that comes from being that when he's a fullback. If you look at his fullback, he's taking more shots, and his expected assist is higher. His passing rate is good for a fullback, and he makes more progressive passes as a fullback. And defensively, as a fullback, is in 99, 99, 99 with 4 clearances, areas, and interceptions. So that's not bad as a fullback, to be fair. Centre back, when you compare him to Konate, I would say he's arguably better apart from pass completion and aerials, right? When you compare him to a fullback, I don't think I've got a fullback on there, unfortunately. But the fullback, he's he's in slightly different areas because I think his areas are better for a fullback. But
Yeah.
centre half, I think, compares well with Canate. Playing time, if I just get that one up, which is down here. So this is just domestic league, and he's played over 2,000 minutes for the last few seasons. So that's a good pedigree, all right?
Yeah.
You tweak one memory. It was the Monaco left back that City signed that we can't really talk about, but
Mendy,
yeah. There's a bit, the way he crosses a ball is a bit, and he as a fullback is that there's some traits in that, and that might be the French system, right? Because he can put a ball in from fullback. You watch him, it goes out to him, takes out a touch, and he puts a good shape of ball in. And in terms of dashboard stuff, so he plays right side, so he's in his areas. He's not involved too much in putting the ball into these areas, but he's solid at getting it to his fullback.
Yeah.
In terms of, he actually created, have I got it here? No, I haven't. He created nearly 5% of the team's threat. This was against us as well, by the way. So he did pretty well. In terms of what did he stop? He stopped 80% of the threat he faced versus us, which on the night, was that Cody and Verts, wasn't it? I think, if I remember correctly, because Mo was on the bench. So that's not bad baptism. He was in this area. So again, defensively, he's done okay. He's done a good volume of defensive actions and come up well. And in terms of his zone, it again shows you up that he's in a good shape with his back four in his XG. Yeah, fine. Overall, it's an interesting profile. What is he? 25 as well. So this might be that 24. That might be that mid-level defender we chatted about earlier on. Mid-20s, not a kid anymore.
No.
Coming into being more of a regular. Certainly got some stats there. You'd have to take into account different league, all that kind of stuff. But again, because of those things that seem to be in every single centre-half profile at the moment, this guy does that. He's also got more of a pedigree than O'Donnell's from the first one we looked at today. So, I can see why we're looking at this type of player. He's quick. I haven't got the stats from the UEFA league. Sorry about that. But, I can say what we're looking at him. I don't know what the price is on him, but I can imagine God, I don't want to let him go sitting there and just boil him in the summer. But, he seems a good profile, and if you watch him, the eyes match the stats in this one, whereas the others, it's a little bit of difference.
It's a weird. I was trying to make sense of all the info. Like say because we watched the footage, he's kind of aggressive and seems raw at times as well. But then it's almost that this is going to sound bobbins, but there's culture of, like you said, sometimes his clearances are wild, but then when you see him defend the channel, like hold on, he's just read the game really well. And the next minute, he'll go smashing into the stands to get it out. So there's that element to it. It's just a bit of an interesting mix. I think that the bits we got, and these are important to say, because he is actually used to moving Singo a lot, is the info we've got, that he's been at Torino previously in Italy. He's been at Monaco in France and now Galatasaray. So there's that. So, progressing league, different styles. You could look at that in his favour. You could rule that against him. Probably one of the X's in the box for right now, Ivory Coast, AFCON. So obviously, if you want an immediate need, that will probably work against him, no doubt. So, if it's immediate, again, we're talking January in the summer. The couple of names I've got to put to you, Bart, that we were given on this, doing a bit of digging, and an analyst gave us this, and it's important to say. Do you remember Liverpool looked at a couple last summer, as in, do you remember Thomas Arroyo, I think it's pronounced, at Benfica, could play right back and centre back, very quick. Looked at him, as an option that if you were to profile him as a fullback, very strong in the air, but as a centre back, you'd be a bit on the low side, but very quick and could defend the channel aggressively. So that's one in the mix. But also, as it was put to us, you think of the way Slot had it at Feyenoord, Gertrude, who was a right back, but would often come in to make it like a 3 with the other 2 centre halves, allowing the other fullback to push on. So it's just with those elements, do you think that could be viewed unfavourable? Because he's so different if he was going to play right back. So different to Bradley and Frimpong. It's a completely different profile. But if you thought about him in terms of Arroyo, or if you thought about it in terms of Gertruda and being able to almost play as a 3, thinking a left side, so that could allow Kirkes to actually bomb on and almost do what we thought many thought he would do. Could that come into the mix for them as an option? Or even if you playing a kind of 3 style at the back that way?
Yeah, no, I think it could. I mean, if you also, the flip side to that is we profiled Hato and Hiraki, the guy who's gone to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Hiraki. Similar, this is the right side version of them, right? They are hybrid. They can play left back, they can play centre half, right? This kid can play right back, and he can play centre half, which enables you then to do a 3 or a 4, and you get a bit lopsided, but that's kind of the platform we've got at the moment. So, yeah, I could see that they've switched their focus from having a hybrid left-sided defender to have a hybrid right-side defender, because you've got Frimpong's pace to go up and down with. And it would also release, if you're going to play 3, it would also release Kirkes on the left. So, yes, that makes a lot of sense, as it did to us in the summer when we were looking at what we were doing, but then we changed what we were doing in the front line up in the left, so it made less space. But no, definitely. The unfortunate thing is AFCON. This kid is not going to happen. I don't think this is going to happen in January. It's not now. This is the summer thing. So if you were thinking, great, get this kid in and we can play this while Mo's in AFCON and we can play Frimpong, that can happen because this guy's at AFCON as well. I think it's Ivory Coast at AFCON. I think they are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's a good idea. It's a good theory. It does make a lot of sense, to be honest with you, particularly with Feyenoord's the way they used to play with Gertruda.
Yeah.
But this isn't an immediate. It's definitely not a January fix. This is a summer move. This is going to happen. That's what they want to do.
And then the thing is, if you're going to go for a summer move, you'll probably have a more idea of who's going, who's staying, and it might just be that sometimes it's January, what's available, what's needed now. This may just work against Singo, but at the same time, you can completely tell why they're having a look at him and his style and what he could bring. It isn't going to be January for this one, which may well work against him longer term as well. I suppose the only final one I wanted to talk about with you, and it's not so much that we're going to profile him because we've done it before, but Semenyo, Bart, when me and Trev did digging on this, and he's kind of out there, isn't it? Indy's messaged it about, retweeted it 1,000 times, and, there seems to be something in it. Liverpool have got a solid interest in Antoine Semenyo, and I get why this is in terms of, his raw pace, his physical attributes, the ability to beat a man, with speed and acceleration. It's important to say there's no reason why anyone should be surprised that Liverpool are interested in Semenyo. What people are going to levy back against is, hold on, we had a look at this guy solidly in the summer and didn't do it, having had a real solid look. Aren't there other priorities as well, which I think people would come with as well in terms of January? What are you making of this Liverpool back in for Semenyo in Jan?
Probably a bit like you just said there. I struggle to see the need to spend 60, 70 million on a attacker.
Yeah.
Right, who isn't Elise. Because this Semenyo is not going to replace Mo, right? I think we had an article out today from the account and people got confused. I wasn't saying that these kids are going to replace Mo. It's just there are good options for the front line. The style, right? Yeah. So Semenyo can play on the front line, but he does it from the left for Bournemouth and does it very well. Does he play with it? He plays with a similar type of player to Flo. In Kluivert, drops in and does a bit, but Kluivert starts in the 9, right? So, or can do, not full time. So, but again, he's got Cody. That's the player that he largely goes back to playing left wing. So, I struggle to see that because the reason we are in the problem we are in right now is not up front. People want to have a go at Flo, want to have a go at Isak, want to go at who you go. Cool, you knock yourselves out. That isn't the reason we're 8th in the league. the reason we're eighth in the league is we can't keep clean sheets. That's a simple fact, and we can't stop conceding first. Signing Semenyo doesn't solve that problem to me at all. It means you go a bit clock first season. You just outscore teams. Okay, that might be fun for half a season, but it isn't long term going to make you back to being title winners. And I'm sorry to be completely honest, but it isn't. It might, and I don't think. Yeah, so for me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Are they worried about missing out on him for the future? Maybe, but then again, I'd argue that I'd be looking the other side. I don't know. I mean, maybe I've got this all. I'm not privy to the conversations, but the long-term successor should be looking at replacing Mo. I would have thought, not the left side. But no, for me, I wouldn't spend that money. It's not my money, but I wouldn't spend it on a left winger in January. If you were going to spend that amount of money, I would spend it further back.
It's so weird because I get it, the physical elements. And I think if someone said, just as a raw comparison, and it's not putting him in this level, but Semeno is probably the closest physically, I would say, to Sadio Mane you could get in the Premier League right now in terms of that option and that balance. And, he can play on the right wing as well. He can play across the front line. Yeah. Liverpool were looking for a multifunctional forward in the summer. But again, like you, it isn't the priority for me. Would it improve it? Yes. Is it good? I'm going to say it's a bad signing because it's never that simple. No. But there's other priorities at the same time as well. And we profiled a player that we looked at right now. And again, it may come as to opportunity, price point and all these. But when Liverpool were looking at Minter, and they have been looking at Minter heavily, that made more sense to me. A different profile to Mo, but someone on the right, I could understand it. And his pace and his pressing. But do you know what? It may be Semenyo. I suppose the final one I wanted to ask you on this, because I'll be careful how I phrase this, because the likes of Michael Edwards, I know he's a bit of a god to you data boys and all the, the spearmen. They are the people you worship at the altar of. But is this a fair comment or question to ask? If they are moving for Semenyo in January, is it a bit of an admittance like we may have just got this wrong a bit in the summer as well?
I think it's fair. So, I mean, we're never going to be privy to the conversations.
Yeah.
I think they are one team and they would all say that. But I think it's a fair argument to have that there was a lot of talk, and we said it, that we felt they were leaving themselves one short in attack by not going and replacing. Yeah. It's in effect, they didn't replace Diaz. They went with 2 9s. Kept the right the same because Chiesa was normally the right side with Mo, right? But then they limited them. They went with Rio rather than buying another left winger. Yeah. And I think we even said we felt that might be a mistake. And I think this, you could make that assumption that this is a result of that they want to go and rectify that. Sure. But the annoying thing for you and I is that there's a better player that was available at that time that they could have got to play on the left wing. So you as much as Semeno is a good player, is not. If you're going to replace on that area in the summer, you'd have got a far better player. But I think to long and short of it, I think you could think along those lines perfectly reasonably. I think there's a lot of discussions that will be had in the coming months about how robust those conversations were about these are the profiles, do they fit how you want to play from a coaching and tactical and data side, because clearly something has gone awry. If that's a human element, because they've lost a teammate and that's had an emotional effect, cool. That's not cool, but that has had an impact. You've got to factor still, this planning has gone on for months, as you say on the shows with Trev and David. They're long time they think about this. There should have been a plan about we're going to get these players and we're going to evolve the team this way. And I think that's the conversation that I think needs to happen, is to understand, if you've thought about this for 6 months, why are we sat in November this many defeats when you've been thinking about how we're going to play? We've got no identity at the moment. I think that all feeds into that discussion, which I think rightfully should be happening now.
We will see. It's always important to remember, people, because I see some saying, oh, November, and it's January away. Don't be under any illusions. Liverpool's January plans, if that will be well afoot already, discussions, if they are going to make moves, will be having had. But interesting targets, as we said, across the board, there's an element of aggressiveness, physicality to all these. There's a lot of young talent there in Odoyes, Buardi, who a lot of people will like, probably different positions, different rankings, shall we say. Singo in the mix as well. But there's real question marks about what would be done in January for some over others. We'll have to see, won't we? But 3 very interesting profiles there. All it leaves me to say as ever, Bart, for the time, the analysis, and for sort of dragging you out your pit on a Friday morning, it is much appreciated.
No worries, anytime.
And ladies and gents, that was a Transfer Market Metrics special from Anfield Index.